Everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind Podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Wednesday. It's July 19th. It is 2023. We have an 8-game baseball slate to talk about here on today's podcast. I'm joined today by Stevietpfl. You all know him as TastefulTides. Tim, what's happening, my friend?
Not much, Stevie. Thanks as always for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure to do these morning grinds with you. We love breaking down baseball. I think it's like a 8-game Wednesday slate to break down. I think just so everybody knows, I think it's going to be one of those slates again where Ohtani is going to be pitching eligible on DraftKings and hitting only on FanDuel. I think that's what we're setting up for Wednesday's slate.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it kind of plays out. But yeah, they haven't announced who they're pitching yet. And everything kind of points to Ohtani, but there is reports that it could be someone else as well. So we'll see. Wild slate on Tuesday. 26 current runs in Atlanta. Dodgers 10 spot. Padres 9 spot. The Braves or the Giants and the Reds scoring a lot of runs. The Royals and Tigers, two of the worst offenses in baseball. They're over 15 runs in that game. Cleveland put up a 5 spot in the first inning against Mitch Keller. So fun slate. I'm very happy that my Atlanta stack has Taj Bradley on it because a lot of the pitching just got absolutely crushed tonight. My Mitch Keller love yesterday on the podcast about him being like a safer option. I don't even know what to say to Mitch Keller he got rocked. 8 earned runs. It wasn't pretty, but
we knew though kind of how bad pitching was going to be on Tuesday night, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like we kind of had that feeling. We saw the options were there was really, in my opinion, there was no place to hide, right? So it was a good night to pay up for bats.
Yeah, White Sox Mets. There were a ton of runs in that game. So yeah, fun one. And Derek in YouTube chat says, Stevie, I need to have a word with you about Keller. The team that I played Keller on needs to have a word with me too. Luckily, so like I kind of lucked out, right? My Keller team overall just didn't do well. So it's one of those things where you like kind of luck out because the team didn't do well. So like even if Keller would have pitched good, it didn't do well. So it kind of worked out for me. But you have a good red stack that's going. That we'll see if it ends up any good. But yeah, if you didn't have Atlanta, Arizona, you're playing catch up tonight. All right, let's move on to Wednesday's slate. 8 games, a little bit of day baseball as well, but 8 games here on the main slate. We're going to jump right in. Yankees and Angels is actually where we start. So
yeah,
no total out for this game yet. Weird because it's a West Coast game that starts at 7 Eastern. So it's a 4 o'clock like afternoon game out in LA. Rodon is pitching for the Yankees. It sounds like it's going to be Ohtani. You never know if it's going to be Ohtani or not. Who knows? What are your thoughts here on Rodon?
I think he's a great play at 8,500 on DraftKings. He definitely got hit around in his first start back, but he got through 5 innings pitched. I think that he's up to speed at least. I think it's, this Angels team is a little bit watered down, right? I mean, of course they have Ohtani, but they don't have Trout. They don't have Drury. So this Angels team is quite watered down. And I think that $8,500 price tag is very, very appealing. So as of right now, I think I have quite a bit of interest in him.
And Arizona just keeps going. I don't have a ton of interest in him. I need to see him have like a good start before I start playing him. 8,500 is a tough ask for me. Angels still a top 10 team in baseball against left-handed pitching. You look at their numbers against lefties, they have a lot of good bats against lefties. Yes, obviously, a guy like Trout being on the lineup hurts, but I don't know if it hurts enough for me to play a guy that's coming back from the IL that I feel like they're going to still kind of have kids' gloves on. I don't think we see him go over 100 pitches. He's 8,500. Yeah, I don't get there today. I hear you. I just don't get there today. Ohtani, if it is Ohtani on the other side of this game, I expect him to be expensive. Like you said, on FanDuel, he's a hitter. They probably don't change it.
Right.
I would love for Sites just to have him at pitcher and fielding. Like, I don't understand.
I don't understand at this point. Yeah. At this point, how do they not have this figured out? I don't.
Is it like a law thing? Is it like something that's like in the laws on the states that have been passed for fantasy? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think this is strictly something behind the scenes that they can't figure out.
It doesn't seem like it would take a lot of tech and a lot of like time and money to like do that. Like,
I don't know.
Why not just have him as like an expensive pitcher and hitter, and like maybe like they don't want people to get confused. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But let's say he's
maybe their scoring system can't do it. Who knows?
Let's say he's like 10-8 tomorrow or Wednesday. Let's say he's 10-8. What do you have interest in him at like that price tag?
Yep.
Yeah, I do too.
Too many strikeouts in this lineup.
Yeah.
Even if Judge was in the lineup, I would still have interest in Ohtani in this spot. So, yeah, if Ohtani is the starter, assuming that he's in that 11K-ish range, I don't know if I go up to him if he's like 12K. I don't think he'll be that much.
No.
I think he gets up for this game. I think he goes out and he pitches a really good game. His strikeout rate is still elite. His whiff rate, swinging strike rate, all that stuff is elite. So, yeah, if Ohtani is the pitcher for this game, a lot of interest in Ohtani pitching.
I don't mean to go off the rails so soon, Stevie, but is he going to get traded?
No.
I
don't think they can do it. Like attendance-wise, I don't think they can do it.
Right. They would just have a revolt.
I still think there's a chance that he re-signs with this team. Like I am in that camp.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I mean, how many times did he say that like he wanted to play with his hero and his hero is Mike Trout?
Right.
I don't know.
It's such an interesting story. Like he's like going to be an all-time great baseball player, like all-time great.
Mm-hmm.
And like we're approaching, what are we, like 2 weeks away, 13 days away from the trade deadline, and like he is like it's like a huge story. It's like we don't really get big stories like this like very often in baseball, in my opinion. Like this is a huge story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that if he doesn't re-sign, it's like one of three landing places: Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox. Like if he doesn't re-sign with the Angels, he's gonna go get paid.
Right.
Sure. Bats? Anything on the Yankees bats? If it is Ohtani, if it's not Ohtani, you're just gonna have to kind of see. I mean, there's like noise that it could be like a bullpen game or Detmers, but Detmers doesn't make sense because he pitched on Saturday. It's not full rest, so yeah.
The Yankees are priced for Ohtani, so if it's not Ohtani, they are very, very cheap. So this strictly depends on if Ohtani's pitching or not. If Ohtani is not pitching, they are very, very affordable. Up and down the lineup, the most expensive guy is Gleyber Torres at 4,900, Stanton's 4,600. You can go down to Pereza at 3,000, who batted leadoff tonight. He would be Harrison Bader's 3,600. So like if Ohtani's not pitching, then the Yankees are fully in play.
I did see something that they might like go full on bullpen game, and like Jaime Barria might bulk to give them like an extra day. I had read a report about that. So if the Yankees are priced down, like you're talking about, Barria would be a great spot for the Yankees bats. So
yes.
So I mean, if it's Ohtani, I probably don't have a ton of interest in the Yankees. If it's not Ohtani, I want to see who's pitching. I would probably have interest in just about anybody else because, like you said, the Yankees are priced down here.
Yeah.
Let's talk Angels bats. I know you were kind of lukewarm on them. You had a little bit of interest. Is there any of these bats that you like here?
Honestly, no, Stevie. It's I like Rodon. I'm much higher on him than you are, and that's okay. Obviously, if Otani is hitting eligible, you can always play Otani as a hitter against anybody. That's fine, but I'm gonna pass. Even guys like Renfro and Ward, they're $3,800 a piece. Honestly, I don't really have that much interest in them.
Yeah, so I mean Renfro, he has just hit left-handed pitching ever since he started playing baseball back in the day. So ton of interest in him. And then if Zach Neto hits leadoff, very small sample size, but he's been really good against lefties so far. Outside of that, I mean, if Otani is pitching and we don't get to play him as a hitter, that obviously hurts the upside a little bit. Wallich, if he catches, I would assume he catches here with a lefty on the hill. I assume they give Dices a day off. Wallich is 2,500. This guy has fantastic numbers this season: 368 ISO, 411 WOBA against left-handed pitching. So I definitely get to like a little 3-man for sure. I don't think it's a full stack spot for me, but it's definitely one of those spots where I'll have to see when the lineup comes out, and I'll be looking at a 3-man. Ton of interest in Renfro. I think this is a fantastic spot for Renfro, but I'm not going crazy. I still respect like Rodon's like talent. I just need to see him like have a game healthy. I want to see a healthy, really strong spin rate game, everything kind of clicking for him game before I'm paying this price. So I don't want to go crazy here. I just respect some of these Angels bats as well. All right, moving on. San Diego at Toronto. Hey, just in case you guys were all very curious, Alek Manoah still not good. 9 total in this game. Blue Jays, a 124 favorite here. We got Darvish and Berrios facing off against each other. Yeah. Let's talk Darvish first. He's 8K. I mean, the price tag is somewhat enticing.
Yeah.
Any interest here in Darvish?
Yes, just because of that price. I mean, he just got a almost 26% K rate. The matchup is not the best, but man, he definitely has a ceiling at this price tag. So I really don't have an issue with it. The only kind of caveat to that is that it seems like pricing in general is kind of soft. So like the Darvish value may be kind of an illusion because there are, like, in my opinion, there's other kind of softish prices on this entire slate, but he's a talented enough pitcher where he can really exceed salary expectations in this matchup pretty easily. So I think he's firmly in play.
Yeah, my only like issue is this is a very low strikeout team. They put the ball in bats a lot. There's going to be a lot of ground balls. Darvish, his ground ball rate has just skyrocketed over the last month. He's done a great job recently of just generating a lot of ground balls. So he's been pitching a lot better than his numbers. A lot of his advanced stats look really good. He's been pitching a lot better than the numbers kind of indicate. I think at 8K, it's worth taking a shot. If it's a single entry cash lineup type build or single entry type build, I probably don't get there. I'm considering playing him in like a 3-entry max build. He's right on the fringe for me. I want to see, like, obviously who's pitching for the Angels. We'll talk about a couple other pitchers that I like. Berrios on the other side of this game, another guy, I mean, that has definitely been pitching better. Just throws a ton of strikes. This is a really good offense. Any interest in Berrios here?
Not really. He's like in this matchup. I just don't think, like, his K rate's just not quite high enough. And like you said, he's really BABIP dependent, and so he's going to be pitching to contact against a well above average team against some very, very talented hitters. You could argue that like the bottom of this lineup is a little bit weak, but the top half is not. They're very, very strong. Honestly, I don't think the Padres are going to get a lot of ownership, so I have a lot of interest in the San Diego bats.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm playing Barrios here. It's such a tough matchup to get there. Like, obviously, the bottom half, Gresham, Carpenter, Gary Sanchez, a lot of strikeouts there, a lot of upside there. But you still have to get through that top half. Fernando
Right.
Tatis, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Cronenworth is a guy that doesn't strike out. So I worry about the upside. I think it's like a boom bust spot. I definitely could see taking some shots. I could definitely see playing some bats here too. Padres very good. Toronto's a good ballpark for hitters. What are your thoughts on the Padres bats?
I really like them. Like, we're gonna get to some teams later on in the show that are gonna be a lot heavier owns, I think. And I don't think that a lot of people are going to be rostering the Padres. And I think that pitching is soft. The pricing for pitching on the slate is soft enough that you can fit guys like Tatis at 6,300 in pretty easily. Bogarts is only 4,800. Soto's 5,500. Cronenworth's down to 3,800. Like, you're going to be able to stack this team. Trent Grisham, 2,300. Obviously not the best player in the world, but he brings down the price of that stack quite a bit. And he is a good enough hitter that I think he is way better hitter than $2,300. So I think this team is very, very interesting for a large field GPP setting.
Don't hate it. Toronto side of this game. I mean, Darvish has been generating a ton of ground balls. There is like one guy that kind of stands out as like a big fly ball hitter, and that's Brandon Belt. He's really cheap. If you want to attack that like fly ball, ground ball, I love it, by the way. I talk about it all the time. It generates a lot of line drives. Maybe I take Brandon Belt as like a one-off home run, try to generate a home run. I mean, they're so expensive in a tough matchup against Darvish. I don't think I could pay like fully to stack this team with the matchup.
No, I think I agree with you. The Colin Belt is good at 3K, but they're just too expensive for this matchup. We got Bichette, Vlad, Springer, all 5K or higher. Chapman's 4,900. There's no kind of discount, and I expect Darvish to win in this matchup. So there's no way I'm full stacked in Toronto.
All right, Arizona, Atlanta over. Good football game, 16-13. What a game. San Francisco at Cincinnati. We got Stripling and Ashcraft facing off against each other. 10.5 total in this game. Pick'em game. Any interest here in Ross Stripling?
No.
Yeah, no interest for me. No interest for me in Ashcraft on the other side of this game either. This is a game I'm just, again, for I feel like the third straight day, just gonna absolutely load up on the bats. Ashcraft, he does generate some ground balls. I'll give him that. Low strikeout guy, high WOBA, high ISO, high hard hit rate, like everything you don't want to see outside of the ground ball rate. So yeah, I'm not playing Ashcraft either.
No. Absolutely. I would exclude both of these pitchers, even in like if I was making 150 teams.
All right, let's talk San Francisco. Obviously, I talked about this yesterday as well. Only one lefty in the bullpen. Obviously, that helps a ton when it comes to pinch hit risk. What are your thoughts here on the Giants bats?
Absolutely love them. One thing that I should note, I believe Lamont Wade left Tuesday night's game. I'm not sure to the extent of what happened, but I just want our listeners to be aware of that and pay attention to that, because he is certainly a guy that I would like to play at 3,700.
He did.
What's that?
He did leave the game early.
Yeah, but I'm not sure to like what how badly he was hurt, or I just want people to know that he did leave the game. I would love to be able to play him. Jock Peterson at 4,400, Michael Conforto 3,300, even guys like Wilmer Flores, Yastrzemski. These guys are way too cheap. I mean, this is going to be, I would assume, probably the chalkiest team on the slate. I mean, they're just so cheap, and they're huge ballpark upgrade. This team's going to be very chalky.
was trying to find really quick if I could find out why he left the game early. I'm still getting there with the new tweet deck. Still, but
Yeah, that's
it
been a
does say that it
challenge.
was an injury.
Yeah.
But I mean, it happened like 40 minutes ago, so who knows? But yeah, it was an injury. He limped off the field. Yeah, I would assume maybe he's not in the lineup here, which I mean could potentially maybe Yaz hits leadoff. That would be
Right.
awesome.
That'd be
Maybe
awesome.
like a Brett Wisely hits leadoff. I mean, just kind of again saying, this is just a team I really want to play. Both of these teams. I will say the lefty pitched again. That's 2 days in a row now that Young has pitched. So not typically you see a reliever go 3 straight days, but it does happen from time to time. But man, you don't worry about especially if Wade is out too. You don't worry about the pinch hit risk as much. Really like the Giants today. Really like the Reds. Stripling is a guy that I love to stack against when he's pitching in San Francisco. You can bet your butt that I'm going to stack against him pitching in Cincinnati.
I've got no argument against that. They're obviously priced a lot higher than San Francisco, but hopefully that will scare some people away. But yeah, I absolutely love, any of these high end Reds guys. I think are in absolute smash spots. Encarnacion is 2,500. Third baseman, he's a value. He wasn't in tonight's or on Tuesday night's game, but he was in yesterday's game. So we'll see. Hopefully he's in the lineup. He's dirt cheap. He brings down the price of the stack quite a bit. He's a big time prospect, so hopefully he gets the nod, and he's third base eligible at 2,500. So if you're
He just hit
stacking the
his
Reds,
first career home run about 20 minutes ago.
did he
pinch hit.
really?
Yeah, he had a pinch
He
hit home
pinch
run.
hit? Oh, I was gonna say because he didn't start because I wanted to. I was thinking about rostering him. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully he cracks the lineup. He's 2,500. Just don't forget about him. He's gonna be he's gonna be a stud. So you won't be getting him at this kind of price very much longer.
Yeah, I was tilted. They pinch hit Fraley, and then he hit a home run. So it was like, dang, man. All right. Yeah, I mean, overall, a fantastic game to target on the slate. Fantastic. Both sides. You can get some value stacking the Giants and then play the expensive Reds. Fantastic spot. White Sox, Mets. We got Tuki Toussaint starting here. Verlander pitching for the Mets. 9 total. Verlander and the Mets a minus 200 favorite. Any interest here in Tuki Toussaint?
Absolutely none.
You said it too fast. I didn't get my drink in.
Sorry.
No, you're good. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no interest in me in Tuki Toussaint. At one time, a very talented prospect. He's going to generate a lot of ground balls. He's not likely going to give up a lot of home runs. He's just not going to generate a lot of strikeouts. He struggles with command. His walk rate is almost 18% on the season. Just started pitching, starting again recently. Worked out of the bullpen a lot as like a long reliever. But yeah, it's kind of, I feel like it's going to be like Tuki Toussaint for 70, 80 pitches and then like bullpen type of game is what it sounds like for the White Sox here. Not playing Toussaint. Verlander, 8,800. I think this is a spot we could definitely take some shots on Verlander, looking at like the slate that we have for pitching. He's someone that I had written down earlier tonight. Any interest here in Justin Verlander?
I absolutely love Verlander, and I hate to keep going back to this. It does kind of depend on if we get Ohtani or not, because it kind of affects lineup construction. Let's say, if we don't get Ohtani, Verlander is I think one of the best overall pitchers on the slate. And so I absolutely love him. He's been inconsistent. He's certainly not the same guy that he once was, but he's no longer priced like he once was. So it's, the price is appropriate. And I think this is a matchup that he can excel in quite easily. He pitches at Citi Field, which is one of the best pitchers parks in baseball. And I absolutely love him.
pitching is so bad tonight. Wu and Ober, they're not getting the job done.
Yeah,
Like,
everybody's.
what
This
is
is.
going on? The
t-
baseball is
t-
just flying tonight. Like, if you
It's
have a
just.
pitcher in the positive, congrats.
It's home run derby this
Yeah,
evening.
it's wild. Again, like I felt really good having Taj Bradley and Wu, and man, that's not even working out. Maybe you played Logan Allen. Oh, Logan Allen absolutely dominated Pittsburgh.
He
That was
did. He
so.
did.
So anyway, all right.
Yeah.
I do have interest in Verlander. Moving on to the bats, the White Sox side. Jimenez still kind of banged up. I don't really want to pick on Verlander. There's nothing like jumping off the page to me. I think you can always take shots on Robert Vaughn or Berger, but I don't
Robert's
think I'm.
6K. Robert's
Yeah, he's so
6K.
expensive.
Like one solo home run that Verlander may very well give up is not enough for 6K. So like, yeah, Verlander can sometimes give up some home runs here and there, but Robert 6,000. So have at it if you want to, but that's a pass for me. Tim Anderson is really, really struggling this year. There's no way I'm clicking his name for 3,900. But I think Chicago is a pretty easy pass for me.
All right. Any interest in the Mets bats here against Toussaint?
I do and I don't. Toussaint, like you said, is super, super wild, and I love attacking pitchers who have got control issues. So I think that they deserve some pretty strong consideration. I don't think they're going to be. I think I would like to get to a 3-man of them, maybe not like a full stack. You could always play the polar bear. Lindor is good. Nimmo's fine. They're priced fairly. I don't think that they are too cheap or too expensive. I think they're appropriately priced. So I think that they're okay as kind of like fill-in pieces as like secondary stack.
I was just looking at it because I was curious. 10 pitchers with negative scores on Tuesday.
Are you serious?
Yes, 10 pitchers.
Wow.
And like Ober's still going, so he can get positive. But as of right now, 10 pitchers with negative. But so for me, I don't think it's a full stack on the Mets. Obviously, this game's in Citi Field. Huge red flag for me, full stacking. I will say Pete Alonso, Francisco Alvarez are both fly ball guys. Tuki's just not ground ball guy. He doesn't generate a lot of swinging misses. I could take shots on either one of those guys, and then throw like a third piece in there if I want to make it a little mini stack. I do like stacking against a guy like him with command issues. I mean, when you're having command issues, you throw the ball over the plate way more than you want to sometimes. And his BABIP is extremely low. His advanced numbers are terrible. So, yeah, I don't mind maybe a little mini stack for the Mets today. All right, we're going back to Atlanta, playing in the Superdome here. Hopefully this game doesn't go as crazy. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 10 total. Braves a 230 favorite. Nelson and Morton facing off against each other. There is absolutely zero chance you could pay me, and I still would not play Nelson against the Braves.
No chance. Nelson's another easy cross off.
Now, I will say, if you're going to pay me the double up of what my lineups would do, sure, I'll play Nelson. Because I'm already guaranteed money. And if Nelson dominates, then I'm making a ton of money because he's going to be 2% owned. So there you go. No one's going to pay me to do that, though. So, hey, just kidding. Charlie Morton is interesting here. It's a slate where pitching is kind of iffy again. Charlie Morton's a great pitcher. Arizona's an awesome offense. We continue to see it. They continue to be a top 10 team against right-handed and left-handed pitching. What are your thoughts here when it comes to Charlie Morton at 9,100?
So this is the type of play that I certainly wouldn't fault anybody if they wanted to get to Charlie Morton. But the problem is that he's very similarly priced to guys like Verlander, Rodon. We haven't talked about Luis Castillo yet. We haven't talked about Erod yet. So the problem for me is that Morton falls the very bottom of that list of those 4 guys I just mentioned. And then assuming that we get Ohtani, Morton falls down even more. So he kind of falls into that bucket of I think that there are better plays on the slate over him. Morton continues to kind of be a really solid pitcher. And so, like I said, I'm not going to fault you, but I don't think he's got the highest upside on the ceiling or on the slate. So I think for me, he'd be a pass. I don't think I'd quite get to him even in like a 3 max. Like if you're making more than 3, sure you can get to some Morton, but I think even at a 3 max, I'd pass.
Yeah, I don't think he makes the build in a 3 entry max. I think if you are going like 20 entry or 150 entry, I mean, yeah, I think that's just where I would be on Morton, but there's risk reward. Morton's a good pitcher. He could easily
Yes.
go out and have a good game. It's a great offense. They could go out and have a good game as well. So it's a tough one. It's a tough situation. Pitching for the second straight day, it feels like pitching is really, really rocky on this one. So
I feel a lot more confident about this slate than Tuesday.
I felt so good about Woo yesterday, man. Like,
really,
he felt
even as
okay. He's not like this elite pitcher, but he's a very talented prospect. And like Minnesota, they strike out at such a huge clip. Dude, he's getting absolutely shellacked right now. I don't even want to watch anymore. I'm going backwards with an Atlanta stack because of Woo. So, anyway, Woo is a donkey. No, he's not a donkey. He's really good. Just not tonight. And like, I was watching a little bit of the game. He's getting squeezed, but I don't like making an excuse. But anyway, moving on. Arizona bats. Charlie Morton's a good pitcher. Arizona, awesome offense. I wouldn't tell anybody not to play some Arizona bats, especially after they scored 16 runs. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think that maybe some recency bias with them scoring 16 against a really solid pitcher here. Elder, he's not good. Any interest here in Morton?
You mean in Arizona bats?
Arizona bats. Picking on Morton is what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeezy talking about how people were donkeys for playing Woo. I'm one of those donkeys.
I'm one of those donkeys too, and like I don't want to get too far into it, but the only reason I was just so nervous is just because he was going to be so high owned. It's like I completely agree with you. He is a good pitcher, and he's going to be even better. But I was just like, man, do I really want to play 65% Woo? And I did, and I'm going to pay for it. But
like you said, game theory,
there's 10 negative pitchers, so it's like where was I going to hide?
Oh, there's 11 now. He's negative.
There's 11.
So there's 11,
right?
Yeah.
So where am I going to hide?
Don't be sorry, Yeezy. I feel like a donkey playing him.
No, you don't have to be sorry, Yeezy. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Yeah. It's just. I mean,
one of those nights.
I didn't know who else I was going to pitch. So the feeling that I get about the Diamondbacks on Wednesday's slate is that this game's it's gonna be kind of a neutral setup. Like I think Morton can contain them enough that you don't necessarily need them in tournaments. Just like they might be able to get to Morton enough that you're not going to need them in tournaments. So I think they're kind of a pass. And like guys like Corbin Carroll, 5,800, Ketel Marte, 5,300. Christian Walker, 5,100. There's no discount on these guys going up against a pretty strong pitcher. So I think they're a pass for me.
I want to see ownership. If like people overreact and we have them projected for a lot of ownership, I probably don't get there in a 3 inch max. If I was building 20, I would play Arizona almost every single day at this point. They have that type of upside, stealing bases, all that stuff. Atlanta, top stack on the slate for me. I love the Braves again. I talked about him yesterday. Love the Braves. Nelson stinks. Dude, his advanced numbers are atrocious. He can't strike anybody out. If you can't strike out the Braves, you're going to struggle. They're expensive. I'll find some cheap pitching to pair with them, some cheap secondary stacks, but I'm going to make a 5-man Brave stack work.
There's no reason not to. I've got no argument against that. They night after night, they just crush the baseball, right? I mean, that's the point of DFS, right? We want fantasy points, and they put them up every single night. And if they're going to be up against a really, very, very below average pitcher like Nelson, then by all means, I see, even if they're going to be chalky, I see no reason not to get to them.
Yeah, I don't care what their ownership is. I'm playing at this point of the season, man. You're playing the Braves every single day. It's like you're getting so much upside too, and like they're stolen bases and just everything. So, all right, moving on. We're heading to Wrigley. There is a total out for this game. It's 8.5, which means we probably don't have a lot of wind to worry about. It is Williams starting today. Corbin started yesterday. We were uncertain yesterday on the podcast. Hendricks pitching for the Cubbies. I did have some secondary stacks of the Cubs, and it actually, I talked about them on Expert Survey today too. They were projecting for really low ownership. Slate IQ was giving them like a really good like leverage spot today as far as the Cubs are concerned, and love looking at that kind of stuff. If you have access to Premium, you can see that kind of stuff. But they're at 15 runs. I wish I would have fully stacked them. They're absolutely crushing the baseball right now. Any interest here in Trevor Williams?
No, not at all, really.
Yeah, I'm not playing Trevor Williams.
I'm trying to find like some kind of cheap pitcher, but the cheap pitchers are really bad. So I just can't do it.
I was looking at my Cub stack. It's a Cub stack with Ober and Wu. Yeah, let's go, baby.
I guess getting 7 points out of Carrasco today, it wasn't that bad of a play.
My hitters have 87. My pitchers have negative 3.1. Yeah, that's solid right there. It's a Cubs Giants stack. So the team is phenomenal. It's such a good team. Oh, anyway. Any interest here in Kyle Hendricks?
I think he's too expensive. Washington, obviously not a great team, but they don't strike out a lot either. I was kind of hoping Hendricks would be like in the 6K, and then I could say he would be a better value. But with like a guy like Darvish, only like $800 more, I'd rather find like the $800 for Darvish, like that. And Darvish clearly has like a way higher ceiling and is a way better pitcher. So, I mean, I think I would have to only have him if I was really making 150 teams. Like he would no chance being a 3 max. I don't even think I'd have him in the 20 max.
Yeah. So, all right, hear me out on this, right? Kyle Hendricks years ago would generate 60% ground balls, and he has great command and all of that. None of that is happening anymore. His ground ball rate's 45%. His strikeout rate's still 15%. He's giving up more home runs. He's getting blown up more. He still throws a ton of strikes. But for Kyle Hendricks to get there, he's just going to have like one of those outstanding BABIP games. So you're gambling on a BABIP game. It's not even like you need a little bit of luck on your side. You need every ground ball that he hits to go to somebody and, that kind of stuff. So I don't love Hendricks. Low strikeout team, low strikeout pitcher, a lot of contact. There's just going to be a lot of contact in this game.
He's gonna have to get away with BABIP. That's the only way he's going to pay off the $7,200 price tag. Like you mentioned, there's probably no wind that we have to worry about, but just make sure to check out Kevin Ross.
It's a crosswind night before.
It's a cross, right? So I mean, just make sure because I mean this could end up, you never know with Wrigley. So just double check.
Yeah. Let's play some bats in this game. Let's talk about some bats. Anything here on the Washington side?
Yeah, I kind of do. Just because their prices are reasonable. Like Lane Thomas is probably too expensive, but like Candelario, Ruiz, Meneses, CJ Abrams, he's been batting leadoff. He's 3,200. I think he makes for a fantastic value play. So I think this team is interesting. Like you said, Hendricks isn't going to be striking anybody out. This team doesn't strike out. So I think this is a sneaky value stack, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Meneses, Candelario, Abrams, if he hits leadoff. I know you mentioned him. Really like Abrams if he hits leadoff here. Cubbies bats. I mean, I think I'm going back to the well. again here, I do like the Cubs. Patrick Corbin, I mean, you just love playing against Patrick Corbin. I do anyway. But, I mean, Williams is not much better. And Patrick Corbin, he didn't pitch. I wouldn't say he necessarily pitched terrible. It wasn't great, right? But it wasn't like a terrible outing. Trying to look at like his final numbers. Yeah, he threw 5. He only gave up 3 earned runs. It wasn't a bad inning. They've had to use a lot of arms here to kind of finish out this game. So little tax bullpen. Any interest in the Cubs bats?
The lefties. I love the lefties for the Cubs. Like Trevor Williams, he can't strike out. He's got a tremendously low strikeout rate against left-handed bats. So guys like Cody Bellinger, Ian Happ, I think is pretty interesting. Suzuki, not a lefty, but he's very, very cheap at 3,300. So I think that this team is very similar to how I feel about Washington. I think there's a lot of very, very strong value on the hitting side of this game.
Yeah, I like the Cubs again. I think that they're going to be a good potential leverage spot today on this slate. All right, Detroit at Kansas City, 8.5 total in this game. Tigers a 150 favorite. Rodriguez and Yarbrough facing off against each other. I have a ton of interest in Rodriguez here. He has been all over the place, I feel like, when it comes to pitching this season. This Kansas City team is bad. This lineup is bad. They hit Scoble around a little bit. Man, I'll take my chances here on Rodriguez.
I have no issue with that. I have him rated better than Morton. But I still have Verlander and Rodon and Castillo rated. So I guess if Ohtani's not pitching, Erod would be number 4 for me, which is obviously a great play. This, like you said, this Kansas City team is just atrocious. So I think it's a very, very strong play.
Yep, I like it. I like Ryan Yarbrough on the other side of this game as well.
I do too.
5,500, really cheap. Obviously they could go very right-handed heavy. They actually have some decent hitters against left-handed pitching this season. Ibanez, Rogers, Torkelson. But I still think like there's upside here. At one point, Yarbrough, when he was with Tampa, was like a high-end prospect. He's just fought a lot of injuries. He came back against Cleveland right before the break. Threw 78 pitches against Cleveland, 6 really strong innings. I assume he's in the 75 to 85 pitch range. We're not getting 100 pitches, but we're also getting him at 5,500 here.
I absolutely love him. He is my favorite value pitcher. Like, we've got to cross off the Giants, Reds pitchers, right? We're going to cross off Toussaint. We're going to cross off Nelson. I personally would cross off Williams and Hendricks. So, I mean, Yarbrough is far and ahead of all of those pitchers that I just mentioned. And he's cheaper than all of them. So he, I think, is the top value pitcher. He is going to be limited. He's not going to throw over 80 pitches, I would imagine. Like you said, I would assume he'll be around 75. But still, that's plenty. That's plenty at 5,500. So if you're looking to get a one high-end SB1, go with Yarbrough and stack Atlanta, right? Like something like that. I love that. I think that's a great way to build a lineup.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't hate it at all. If I'm not playing him though, if I'm not taking shots on Yarbrough, because listen, there's no chance I'm going 3 of 3 of Yarbrough. So like on a team or 2 teams, or if I don't play him at all, I think Ibanez, Rogers, Torkelson, some nice value here. They all have some power. I wish Rogers was cheaper. But his power has been fantastic this year against lefties.
Even a guy like Vierling, 3,200, something like that. Torkelson. Yeah, like I don't have too much of an issue with that. I'm just very high on Yarbrough, and I think that there are plenty of cheap bats on the slate. So I don't think I want to get too heavily involved with Detroit.
Kansas City bats. I mean, man, I think you can take shots on Witt.
and that's it. And then who else?
I mean, Freddie Furman at catcher, if he hits he's been hitting like in that 4 or 5 hole against left-handed
That's
pitching.
true. That's true.
So
Yeah.
I don't potentially hate that, but yeah, man. Witt, Garcia, if he hits leadoff, maybe a little 3-man. I don't think I want to pick on Rodriguez. I know I'm gonna be playing a lot of Rodriguez. Rodriguez has been great. He's been great. Like he hasn't some of his advanced stats are a lot better than like, and people are going to be turned off because of the Oakland start. But this is a guy that just consistently strikes guys out, and I don't know if Kansas City has like that power to beat him with a couple home runs. So I think this is a game he could really go out and have 6, 7, 8 strikeouts and dominate.
I completely agree, and I think that really it would just be Bobby Witt for me because I love Bobby Witt. I think he's a fantastic all around baseball
He's on the wrong
player.
team.
Yeah, he is definitely. He's there to rot. Like I feel bad for him.
All right, Minnesota at Seattle is where we finish it out. 7.5 total. Mariners a 165 favorite. Castillo and Medea. Kenta Maeda. Sorry. I was so curious because I talked about how on XM and Monday's podcast how I talked about how I got the Cardinals at 25-1 to win the NL Central. It's already down to 20-1 with their 4-game win streak. Watch out. Man, okay. I think this game has tilted us very much so here on Tuesday. Oh, it's tilted me. I'm sitting here. I'm trying to
I'm
trying to
tilted.
do my job. Trying to do my job like a professional. This game has tilted me. I had exposure to both these pitchers, both offenses. Julio Rodriguez not in the lineup. I'm like, oh, Ober, man, here we go. Yeah, that didn't work out. Got to put that aside for a second and say, all right, we have another good spot today. Another good spot. Kenta Maeda is under 8K. He's cheap. He has strikeouts. Any interest in Maeda?
Absolutely. I think he's completely fine. I still would prefer getting the 200 for Darvish, but I like him. I mean, why would you ever play Kyle Hendricks if you could just play Maeda for $600 more or something? You know what I mean? Like he kind of fits, like he fits certain builds, right? I have absolutely no issue if you get to him. I think he can excel in this matchup pretty easily. So yeah, I've got no issue with him at all.
Yeah, I like Maeda here. I mean, just again, we're looking for a little bit of ceiling somewhere. He has strikeout ability. He's not going to pitch deep in the game. He's 7,800. I'm going to attack some strikeouts here. Luis Castillo should be good.
He's my guy. He's my guy.
Yeah, I mean, he should be. He's talent-wise one of the best pitchers on the slate. Yeah. My concerns are his strikeout rate has dipped tremendously over the last 6 weeks. I like Rodriguez more if I'm just comparing the two. I think Rodriguez has more ceiling, but I wouldn't talk anybody off of playing Luis Castillo here.
Castillo is so say Ohtani isn't on the pitching slate, like Castillo is.
Woo just gave up keep going. Sorry.
So it's all right. Yeah, Castillo's my favorite pitcher on the slate if Ohtani's not on the slate. Like I play cash games on DraftKings. I am 90% sure Castillo is going to be my cash game team. So I'm very, very high. I think that, yes, I agree with you. His strikeout rate has come down. I don't think that there's too much worry for me, like looking at his numbers, though. So I'm going to stick with him. I think he is at a really good price tag, and he is my favorite pitcher on the slate.
I wouldn't argue it by any means. I think that he is in a fantastic spot. Gosh, I mean, let's talk Minnesota here. Any interest in the bats?
Not really. Not really at all.
Man, I liked Sandoval on the podcast yesterday. I took his prop like right when we got done with the podcast last night, and I didn't end up on him, and I'm like even more tilted at myself now. Hate when I do that. Anyway, I'm just, man, I am so distracted right now. Sorry everybody. Minnesota bats for me. Julian, he continues to hit the ball really well. If Castillo struggles a little bit in this spot, like Julian's still 3K. He has 8 home runs on the season. After he just hit one off a woo. I don't hate that. I mean, I definitely would target like cheap lefties against Castillo. He's much better against righties. So, I mean, Julian, Kirilloff, Kepler, Wallner got called up. What are your thoughts here when it comes to Seattle bats?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're okay. I think that they're going to go very, very low owned. So, and I think that they're very, very affordable. So I think Seattle's okay. I have absolutely no interest in Minnesota bats. But guys like for Seattle, guys like, J Rod at 4,800, like I think he should always be 5K or higher. So I think that he would be a very, very interesting large field play. Suarez at 2,700, like that seems like, again, not a great matchup, but that seems way too cheap for him. Ty France 3,000, Teoscar 31. So like you're getting some pretty talented bats for a very, very affordable price. Like, and if Maeda is going to be somewhat popular, like you're going to get some leverage on the field, getting into a few stacks of Seattle.
I just really quickly wanted to go back to Minnesota. I kind of mentioned it really quick, but Matt Wallner is 2K. Did not realize that he was minimum salary. Big power. Top 5 prospect in the Minnesota organization. I can't remember if he's top 100. I always like preseason he was really close. I don't follow where prospects are like throughout the year, but grades out as like a big power bat. So 2K. Just wanted to talk about him really quick. As far as the Seattle bats go, Kelnick I think would be my favorite. Maeda, like when Maeda struggles, you can stack against him and win tournaments, and he struggles a little bit with right-handed power bats too. So like you can take shots on Teoscar or Julio Rodriguez, and then maybe like the lefties of Kelnick and Mike Ford, but positive like potential here for Seattle stack. I think could potentially be like a leverage spot more than anything else.
Yep.
All right, let's play the morning grind game so I can turn off baseball for the night. I am I'm on another one right now. Jeffro Mo Green says LOL. Yeah, I feel you. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at for sure. All right, under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got today?
Under 8K, so it can't be Darvish. I'll go Yarbrough.
I like it. I'm gonna go Kenta Maeda. Over 8K to score under 15. Who's your bust today?
Ooh, Barrios.
I like that one as well. I'm gonna go Rodon. Over 4K to hit a home run. Who is going yard?
Jock Peterson.
Like it. I'm going back to Matt Olson. The only Brave I think that had a bad game. Under 4K to get 2 or more hits. Who's a cheap bat that you like to get a couple hits tonight?
I'm gonna go with. Who did I see? Oh, I'm gonna go Suarez for the Mariners.
I like Ian Happ. I think he's very underpriced today. 3,400. A lot of the Cubs seem underpriced.
I should have gone. Can I change to Suzuki?
He had a really good night. I have him on a red stack that was doing really well too.
I should have done a Cubby.
Stack to score 6 or more runs, and you cannot for any means say Atlanta Braves.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Cubs.
I like it. Man, the Reds, dude, Ashcraft and Stripling in that game. Just stack the whole game.
The Reds, the Giants. That's like that game is so juicy.
10.5 total in that game for a good reason.
Yeah.
Tim, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, thanks, Stevie. I appreciate it quite a bit.
Yeah, always a blast, man. I appreciate everyone in chat too. Like, we're having fun. Like, yes, I'm tilting. It wouldn't be fun if I wasn't tilting. Like, these are the plays that I talked about yesterday. I played them. They're not working out. It's frustrating. Like, when you have these slates where you're like, man, I'm in such a good spot because I've absolutely crushed my bats tonight. Everything that I like for bats, absolutely crushed. Where am I struggling pitching? And I felt like they were in good spots. It happens. We move on. It's daily fantasy. Always appreciate everyone in YouTube hanging out with us. That is going to wrap it up here for Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow. Tilt or not, we'll be back. Hope everyone has a fantastic Wednesday. We'll see you again tomorrow.